Hello, everybody. Happy Pop Chat Friday. I hope you all are refreshed from your 4 a.m. ice plunge. But welcome to Pop Chat. We've got a special guest joining us today, so stay tuned. But as you all are joining, come on in, say hello, introduce yourselves in the chat. The Saratoga Water's fine. Brianna or Nick is here. I'm a little confused. Lots of Breeze, lots of Nicks. Salim is here. We're watching a rocket ship launch today. That's actually what's happening today at Pop Chat. So thank you so much for wrapping up your week with us. If this is your first time joining Pop Chat, welcome. Let me just give you a little bit of an introduction to me. My name is Brienne Fleming, and I love all things pop culture, boy bands, 90s, early 2000s. That is my jam. So I'm a fangirl first and a marketer second. Nick is joining us. Yes, is it Nick Carter? Is it Nick Power? We'll see how it goes, but and so glad you're joining us today. The power is greater than Saratoga. It's been a week. It has been a week. A little bit else about me. I teach branding and social media at the University of Florida, hence the Gator Chomp. But the University of Central Florida is my undergrad and they have my heart. So this is the only time I've really done that. But it has been documented. I live in Jupiter, Florida. I'm the host of Pop Chat and also a podcast called Making the Brand. But go ahead, tell us more about you, who you are, where you're joining from, and what you do. And again, thank you so much for spending your Fridays with us. So as you're doing that, just a reminder, unlike the Backstreet Boys, I do care who you are, where you're from, and what you do. Who knows? What do we do at this point? It's it's all up in the air. Want a shirt with his face on it. That is an idea. I'm sure by the end of this call, someone will have the merch shop set up. Jovella's here, my new friend, or is it Nick? I can't tell. There's so many Nicks in the chat. And as Kyle said, will the real Nick Power please stand up? Maybe he will shortly. Everyone is locked in. Devang is here, missing Florida. So if this is the first time that you're joining Pop Chat, what the heck is it? We meet here every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern to talk about all things marketing and trending topics. And it's turned into this cute little community, sometimes with giveaways and cool things. Oh my gosh, Marianne is here. Chris/Nick is here from Jacksonville, Florida. Savannah, Salim, oh my goodness, Director of Marketing at HubSpot. Rachel's here, made it to Pop Chat. So excited to be here. Awesome. I'm excited you're here too. So as always with Pop Chat, we start off with an icebreaker. Oh no, Britt, I haven't caught you up in the group chat. My Backstreet Boys rankings have changed. I have a new favorite Nick. We have to talk. His name is Nick Power. And as you know, we always start off with an icebreaker today or during Pop Chat. So today's icebreaker. Who the hell is Nick Power? Let us know in the chat. We'll see if we get an answer to this. Matthew says, how many marketers does it take to launch a pop-up store? Probably only one. Britt is a pro at this. If you need merch, if you need Shopify, if you need anything, she's your girl. Alexa from Seattle, brand marketing and content strategist. Jennifer's here. We are a cute community. And yeah, so happy all of you are here. Hello, hello. Tell me why. Yeah, tell you why I have a new favorite Nick. And yeah, lots to catch up on. So icebreaker, who the hell is Nick Power? We shall see. We shall see. One moment. One moment. We're going to see if Nick is here. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. We've got the power. He is really here, folks. So
what's going on?
What's going on, Nick? Hello, hello. I'm going to stop. I'm sure that's not the first time someone's queued you up with that music, is it?
You can let it play the whole time. It's okay.
Yeah, it won't be annoying at all. I was trying to think like, okay, maybe there's a Spice Girls girl power reference here, but I don't think they actually have a power song. They just say it all the time. So we pivoted. It's working out just fine. So who is Nick Power? He is LinkedIn. Michael Sutherland. He is the algorithm. Who the hell isn't Nick Power? Right? Gen Z James Bond. That's a compliment. Nick freaking Power.
Wow.
Yeah. So you've got a whole little fan club here. Nick is my inner thoughts timeline. Yeah. That's what Kyle was saying, is that you kind of say the quiet part out loud for all of us. So thank you.
It
Welcome.
just comes naturally. I can't not do it anymore.
Sure, no
This is
one asks, how is Nick Power? Thank you for the segue, Anne. How are you, Nick? How has this week been? Give us the rundown. What's going on? How did we get here?
good. It's been good. It's been a wild ride. Like I don't know, like mixed feelings, I think. Like mostly really, really positive. It's been really cool to like meet a bunch of people, and everybody has been super, super nice and supportive, which I is like really flattering and everything. And then the other side of it is like, something like this happens, it's really jarring. Like it's very sudden. Like
Yeah.
I had been on LinkedIn for like 2 years before this happened and had a handful of stuff go viral before, but it was like, one-off stuff. And then this happened and it was like totally, people started making posts about me and stuff. And I was like, what is happening right now? So
Yeah. And you've
it's
got fan
definitely
art, you've got all kinds of things going on in the Nick
memes. Yeah.
memes. Yes, we put you on a magazine cover. It's been an interesting few days.
Mm.
So I'd love to just, in your own words, who is Nick Power? Tell us about your background. I know you're working in marketing, like a lot of us do here, but in your own words, you have the floor. Who is Nick Power?
Yeah, so been in marketing 15 years. Just kind of been building my career up, and I think when it comes to just kind of who I am, like it's funny, I didn't really know how to answer that until I think like last Friday. Um, I had a birth chart reading with Becca B, and
Uh-huh.
like in terms of like what I do or who I am, like I was just like always grasping for a word to describe it, and she was just like, "You're a communicator." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's
Oh,
that's the word. Like that's it. Like I'm not a marketer, I'm a communicator." So that kind of blew my mind and was one of those things that was like I sort of didn't really know how to put a word to what I was trying to do in my life and things like that. And she
yeah.
gave it to me. So but
I
yeah,
thought that
just
was a
kind of
joke, the birth chart reading. I saw that post, but I
no,
thought he wasn't being
100%
serious.
serious.
So tell us more
I
about that. What does that entail? It goes by your birthday,
uh
it's like a
yeah, so it's a full-on astrology reading, and I was like, when she hit me up, I was like, this is like, I don't believe any of this stuff. It's never have thought about it ever before. And she was like, no, let me do it. It'll be fun. And I was like, okay, cool. And I would have to look at the notes to like tell you all my stuff. And some people have already asked me about it, so I might post it. But basically, we just went through everything, and she was like telling me where things, where challenges were for me and where my power was and stuff like that. And I was like, holy shit, like this is
wow.
like stuff that I needed to hear, but I didn't know, you know what I mean? And so I don't, it sounds woo woo, but like I was pretty blown away honestly by it. So, um, I mean, I think there was stuff, before that that I was like playing with on LinkedIn and stuff like that and trying to find my own voice and all that. But
Yeah.
it was just one of those recent things where like that happened. And then it's like the last 7 days, I was like, okay, that door has
This
been
is
opened. So
wow, we need to drop the link. You said her name is Becca?
yeah,
I think we all need a birth chart reading. And when is your birthday? Now I'm just curious. What's your sign?
I'm Gemini. I'm June 17th.
Okay. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah,
Any astrology buffs in the chat? Let us know what else this tells us about Nick being a Gemini. So that was the turning point. What made you say, okay, I had this birth chart reading. Let me turn to LinkedIn and be the place where I communicate? And are you on other platforms? Like, what was that process like?
yeah. So that I would say that was like a door that opened, but it wasn't kind of like I would say this really started like a month or two ago. Like I said, I was on here for 2 years before that, roughly, and just posting marketing content, like
Yeah.
thought leadership, and um, I had some success or whatever, and it was just like I had a small following and all that, but it was pretty much like posting a version of everything else that was on there. And
Yeah.
um, I think the turning point for me was like a month or two ago. Just I guess sort of like zooming out, the backdrop for me in my mind was like, okay, social media is in a bad spot, right? Like everybody's kind of like leaving Twitter, Instagram, Facebook are not really fun places to be. TikTok is, consumption channel mainly, like not much engagement happening there. And so all these people are coming to LinkedIn, and if you put that against the backdrop of like politically in the US, it's chaotic and everybody's kind of, struggling with that. And then
Yeah.
LinkedIn, there's just like, it's this country club, right? It's like kind of like nobody's acknowledging what's happening out there, and it's all kind of like this long form title casing content. And so all that was kind of in my head, and I was just like, I dropped a comment that was like slightly unhinged. It was something like, should I keep posting marketing content or comment on the dystopian hellscape that's like outside? And a bunch of people responded to that, and I was like, maybe this is like a thing. And so I kind of just started playing with that and like letting those intrusive thoughts out more, and letting myself be myself more, and
Yeah.
not like following those rules that I think I had like just assumed were true or needed to follow. And
Mhm.
so yeah, I started posting more stuff like that, started posting jokes, which I think that was needed for people. Like people need to laugh right now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a weird time. And so yeah, just started letting that stuff out more, and I think it kind of people were drawn to it because it was like different on LinkedIn, and it was also just a thing that kind of felt right for the time, I guess. Like I think this was going to happen whether I did it or not, honestly. So
Well, we're happy you're here leading the way. And of course, all the posts, all lowercase, all very like AOL Instant Messenger
yeah,
abbreviations and stuff,
yep,
which as a nostalgia lover, that works for me. And I think what a lot of people forget is LinkedIn is the OG of social platforms, aside from like maybe MySpace came before it, but LinkedIn came out in 2003. I feel like it's been here all along, waiting to kind of be everything that all the other platforms are. So this has been a lot of fun seeing how you've been just kind of throwing the playbook out and doing your own thing. And it's freed up all of us here and everyone on LinkedIn to be more of ourselves and to kind of build community and bond with each other over more personal things aside from just marketing. So thank you for that. It's really refreshing. Uh,
yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate
go
it.
ahead.
I
I
mean,
do
I
want to
think I
open it up in the chat. Sorry, I do want to open it up in the chat if anyone has any questions, but go ahead as well.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I think I really love seeing people connect more. Like that's my favorite part of this is just like it like the comments to me are the biggest part of like the content. It's like I'm the opening act, and people just drop funnier comments than the post, in my opinion, and like engage with each other and stuff like that. And that's the part that I love to see, because I didn't see a lot of that happening on here before. And like
Mhm.
it was just a lot of like, oh, I agree and very insightful. And it was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, like can we not? So
Can we not? I
I don't know.
know. Yeah, I feel like that was a strength of Twitter is that, someone would say something and then even more would go down in the thread and in the comments. And you're right, LinkedIn didn't really have that, but I feel like you've sparked this trend where we're now ping-ponging a little bit more on
Yeah.
here. And I agree, that's really where community and all the magic happens is in those comments and in those conversations and taking them a step further. So, Salim is wondering if we're getting 2013 Twitter back. I saw some of your comments on this. What are your thoughts on LinkedIn? Like, is it becoming the new Twitter? Is it something different? Like, what are your thoughts with these types of comparisons that we're making?
So first off, I never had Twitter. I've never been on Twitter.
Oh.
And I think that like, yeah, of course, it's a social media platform. So I think we're going to look and draw comparisons to, is it Facebook, is it Twitter or whatever. But I think those are just another form of those rules that I was talking about, where we're like applying some sort of format or some sort of like template. And like, if like the main thing to me is like, you like look at when you click post and a blank thing opens up, what are your options there? Right? Like you can do a carousel, you can do a video, you can do text post, you can do a poll. Like, and so like I think people should be free to just like fuck around and do whatever they want with that, and put out something that's like really fun and that captures attention. And like I think a lot of people are so quick to point at something like Duolingo and be like, "Oh, like it's so genius," but like they don't really like think about that they're just working with the same tool set that we all have, right?
Mm,
Like it's just the same stuff. So like I think that, when you kind of break down those walls or whatever, you're just like, okay, like what can I do with this canvas? Like what can I just write? And for me personally, like I think I'm flattered by like the lowercase, like everybody like starting to do that more. I think it's
mhm.
cool. Like people should do whatever they want, but like at the end of the day, like for me, that's just kind of how I think or write. And it's like more like my internal monologue. Like that feels
Yeah,
like it sounds more like me, I guess, in my head. So um, I would say, find the thing that feels right for you and like don't feel like, oh, this is like algorithm chasing trend thing that we have to jump on to
yeah.
just open the blank slate and open the blank canvas and figure out what works for you kind of thing.
Yeah, and that makes me curious. I mean, it makes me wonder if the people that know you personally, your peers, your coworkers, your family, if you've always kind of had this jokester personality, if this has always been who you are, and then now you're just setting it free on a professional platform, like is that true? Do you think your friends and family are surprised by this, or they're like, no, this makes sense. This is this is who you are offline as well?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like, so, you know, I'm a dad, I'm 36 years old at this point, so like it's like I'm not in a place where I can just like be like this all the time in my life. And like at work, I'm not obviously like dropping um like the same like I write in like a professional would, but
Mhm.
um I think you know I've always been this person. Like it's not like a facade or like a persona that I've just created around myself or anything like that. And I think that, going back to kind of that opening, which when I was talking about like the astrology reading, like I think what happened there was like I realized that I had buried a lot of myself in trying to be a professional and trying to be a like dad or whatever. Like
Yeah.
just like and so like hearing that, I could be a communicator and like kind of focus on the way that I wanted to communicate, I was like, yeah, like I forgot about that. And like some of the things that I used to do in my early 20s and stuff like that, where like I was just speaking from the mind and being like more, like so I think it was more of like a awakening kind of thing than like me, creating something that wasn't there. But
Yeah, I relate to that so much, and I bet other people in the chat do as well. I feel like when you're on social media, our tendency or something I used to do is like create different profiles and accounts for different aspects of my personality. Like I love to
yeah,
talk about pop culture and boy bands, so I had like a separate like fangirl account, and then I was a professional over on this account, and it was just like all these different aspects of my personality, and it was exhausting to communicate in a way that was so disjointed. And it wasn't until I kind of just said, screw it, I'm going to throw it all together in one and I'm going to talk about the Backstreet Boys on LinkedIn and see what happens. And it's like you said, it's really liberating. It can feel, really special to live that authentically. So thank you for leading that and echoing it.
yeah,
Uh,
I appreciate
yeah.
it.
Kyle says, I have personally seen shorter posts in the Nick Power style have 10 times my engagement versus longer, more insightful posts. Yeah, are we tired of the think pieces anyway? Like I've noticed that too. I've spent some time putting together a longer piece or even carousels and they all flop and it's these like short, quippy tweet style posts. So, what are your thoughts on this?
So I think that, and this is I think where people pull in the Twitter like comparison, and I get it. To me, it's more just like people are busy and overwhelmed, right? Like they're
Mhm.
just, and there's just so much long form content that it's like, and you when you put that with the kind of like everything's formatted the same, and it's all kind of this like a lot of it is Trojan horse content, and like burying a sales pitch in a long form prose piece or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that the short form stuff is just like, what are you trying to like? Just strip it down to the 2x4s. What is it? What are you trying to say? Like, what's the point, and why is it worth sharing? And or maybe it's not a worth thing, but it's like, why are you sharing it right now? So I think it agrees with where we are at. Like the cognitive load right now, going back to the kind of like, the political situation and just where social media is at in general right now. I think it's like we just need like short and digestible things. And again, I think like people should do what's right for them. Like, you know, there's plenty of people crushing it with longer form stuff,
Yeah.
that I could name drop here. But like, I think that for me, that's what feels right. And that's kind of where I'm at too, is like, if I'm scrolling the feed, I'm looking for like, okay, just tell me what you're trying to say. Cause I don't have
Mhm.
that much time anymore. But
Yeah, and I think they open it up to engagement so much because you're not saying too much. You kind of leave just enough to leave it open to interpretation and for other people to just read something simple and, kind of process it and put their own spin on it and then they have something to say. Whereas I found sometimes if I say too much, if I say all the things and kind of overanalyze something, it doesn't leave it open to conversation as much. So I think that's kind of an interesting way just to leave that door open for engagement, you know?
I totally agree. And like, I think one of the things that I've tried to think is like, it's not really about what I think, it's about like reflecting what everybody's feeling or thinking. And like,
Mhm.
so it's just like if you can like sublimate that into a one line, like if I could post in 2 words, I would do it.
Yeah.
Like word count is something I think
Power.
about a lot. And so, whenever I'm going to post, I'm like, okay, like how can I say this in as few words as possible? And so like, I think, but the reflection piece to me is just like, okay, like everybody's out here thinking a bunch of the same things. Like, how do you grab that thing out of the air and, put it into 10 words or less kind of thing?
Yeah. And as Maria said, I think people's brains need a break. These short posts give us breathing room. It's very
Totally.
refreshing. Some other comments in the chat. Marianne says, this current vibe on LinkedIn reminds me of why I liked going into the office early in my career. And Kyle saying, it's truly become the water cooler, and we're making it fun. Michael says, personally, I scroll past those longer, thoughtful posts, layering them by posting something short and more in the comments is more preferable to me. Yeah, and it opens it up for those comments and it truly makes a conversation versus like just a post that's trying to show how smart you are and like show everything that you think. Like, let's also hear what other people think and open that door. So we love to see it. Kyle says, "Isn't it so fun to be the one who made it happen? You've all been saying what we have all been feeling."
Yeah, I mean, I think like we were talking about this before we jumped on the video, but or on the live, but I think this was going to happen whether I did it or not. Honestly, like it was kind of moving in that direction, and I like saw the wave coming and kind of caught it, but I like so it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was like an accident, like, but it was definitely a matter of luck too, and like kind of noticing those things and being like, oh, this, I'm gonna try it and taking a risk there. But yeah, it's been super fun and a little overwhelming, like definitely like my I'm not gonna say that I haven't had like a weird mental health week, like, just because it's like all of a sudden like you open your phone and there's 300 fucking notifications and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Like,
What have I done?
um yeah, exactly. And like, I don't know if I'm like OCD or um I try to like, respond to everybody, and I lost, like I couldn't do it anymore because it
Yeah,
was like crushing me mentally. So I try to get in there when I post something and like respond to a bunch of people, and then I just have to put my phone down and walk away from it for a minute now because it's
please
like
do.
I'm just burning out on it.
Yeah.
If I do it all the time.
Yeah, no, thank you for shining a light on that piece. I think it's really important because it can be exhausting and you've got kids and there's, family that you have to pay attention to and I find it that I do that as well. I'm like, what am I doing on my phone still? Like my daughter's right in front of me. Let me take a break.
Yeah.
So let's see. Brianna says she's just here for the vibes. Benjamin's talking about long form here. I honestly would argue that long form works better for people who've already built that large audience because they eventually become the voice or expert that people want to learn from. So people are more willing to stop and read a long post from them. Otherwise, we're not stopping or scrolling to read the same recycled content over and over. I think that makes sense, Benjamin. I think that makes sense. Jennifer says it's LinkedIn, so I must use my professional voice. Not anymore. Thanks to Nick. So let's see. It's nice because those short clips leave the door open for a conversation, and we love to see it. Um, well, Nick, I want to know also, I mean, you acknowledge that you're doing your best to engage with everyone. You've got all these people tagging you and there's a lot going on, but truly, how could we help you in this moment? Is there anything you hope comes out of this? Is there anything professionally that you have going on, or just, like Anne said, how are you? What can we do to get behind you and thank you for all you've done for us and really just help you in your next step if possible?
I appreciate it. I where I'm at right now is like I'm having fun with it. I'm trying to. I don't really have like a hard goal or like an overarching agenda. Like I shared something yesterday, like mostly as a joke that I was like, how do I monetize this? It's not really like something that I think about right now. Like I just want to put good stuff out. And like a big part of this for me was like getting over the imposter syndrome of like, do I have good ideas that I could validate in a public space right away? And so I was like,
Mhm,
I'm just gonna throw these at, I'm gonna put them out like 6 or 8 times a day and just see
mhm,
like, figure that out. And so that to me is the most like jumping in the comments and seeing people talk to each other and like drop things that are funnier than I said, like that's what I want right now. I have had a bunch of people reach out and say that they, uh, subscribe to Noun Project, which is fantastic. Like I love to hear that. So if you're in the market for icons or photos or anything like that, please check us out. But that's not what I'm here to do, really. It's more just like I'm trying to have fun with this and find
mhm.
like-minded people. And I think really just like in terms of the professional voice comment, like I think like look, our jobs are still tied to this platform, so I think there's going to be like a level of like integrity or whatever still there. But I think being looser with it and not boxing yourself in with like these, I don't know, like unwritten rules or whatever. Just I think we're actually gonna find people that we like to work with more, honestly.
Yeah.
So I see that as like a positive step, and I think kind of pushing it in the direction of more casual feels like it's less stuffy and less yeah,
Yeah. More relationship building can happen, and that's kind of what this platform is about. It's about networking, but you've kind of made it to
right.
where it feels more natural and, again, not so stuffy, and I don't wanna speak for you, but I feel like you are a great example of using LinkedIn to just truly express yourself and not to just impress people. Like, I think a lot of people turn to LinkedIn and like, "This is where I need to show everyone my resume and brag about all my accomplishments," and those things are great, but it's also a place to just express your humor, express what you're going through, and, create genuine connections that way. So, have you found that this platform kind of is an outlet for you, or is it kind of taking a turn where the notifications are too much that it's a little overwhelming?
No, it's I like for sure an outlet. And I think like that's what I really enjoy the most. And like I've kind of like I said, I'm trying to balance, I want to respond to everybody and keep the conversation going. And so I'll, when I throw a post up, I'll like jump in the chat and like just respond to as many as I can for like, 20 or 30 minutes and then take a break just because I need to. But I think like definitely think that people should use it for that, right? Like that's what social media is all about. And I think I was in the loop of like posting, marketing content, like a marketing expert or whatever. And it just was like I said, it felt like a shade of everything else that was in there. So
Yeah.
I think it's just like find something that you're passionate about and find something that you enjoy writing about and play with it. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I'm at with it. So
Yeah.
um, I hope that's helpful.
That is helpful. And on that note, do you have any other general advice for other marketers in the room? Just things that you've learned either this week alone or just in general, a lesson that has really been something that's guided you that would be helpful to share?
Yeah, I mean, I think that so I try to like look at least with context to like um or within the context of like this LinkedIn whatever's happening where people are taking my photo and stuff.
Yeah.
Like zoom out, right? Like zoom out of like this isn't LinkedIn content. It's like what's happening in the world right now. Like think about all the things that, where people are at and just kind of how to relate to them versus like um, what can I write on LinkedIn that would be a slightly better version of what's on LinkedIn? Because that's where I was at. Like I was writing slightly better versions, at least in my head, of like what I saw on LinkedIn. So, and I think that zooming out is really helpful because you can find stuff that, again, you open up that blank canvas and you're like, what could I do that would be fun and like would get people laughing or talking to each other? And I think the starting conversations piece is another one. Like to me, like 90% of, when I write something on LinkedIn, I'm like, will this make people talk to each other basically? Or,
Mhm.
and that's why I leave comments in my own posts because like nobody wants to leave the first comment on a fresh post. Like that's so
Mm.
easy to scroll by. And I think
Yeah.
it's even better when you leave a comment that's like an Easter egg, like something fun. And so like I'll post a joke and then I'll like put in two or three throwaway jokes or some ridiculous like stuff, like the stuff that's in my head. Like
Yeah.
because it's like the voices in my head talking to each other and like that's real.
Mhm.
Like it's not like I'm making it up. That's just shit that's in my head. So
Yeah, yeah.
um but I think
Just
if you do that stuff, then you get people talking to each other and they
Mhm.
get more excited to engage. So
Yeah. Why just be a thought leader if you could be a conversation leader, right? Get people talking.
yeah.
And as far as zooming out, it makes me think of one of the first times I really saw someone share something personal on LinkedIn a few years ago. One of my coworkers, she'd lost 100 pounds and she talked about it on LinkedIn and she had like this before and after. And it was just so refreshing to also see kind of the personal side and to see her in this light. And she shared, a little bit of her backstory and her struggle and how she accomplished this. And like I knew her as the girl from IT, like
Yeah.
it's nice to see that side of people. So, um, Danny is saying, when I became a professional LinkedIn, when I became a professional, LinkedIn was basically an online resume. I love when people really pull back the curtain and show everyone their genuine self. It's no longer a resume. It can share your full self. You're also much more than your career. Be an employee, a parent, and a person. Amen. Amen to that. I really love
Yeah.
that.
Love that.
Jason says most social platforms are the plastics from Mean Girls, ruled by arbitrary rules and cruelty. LinkedIn is everyone revealing their true selves and sharing the plastic tiara. Ah, Jason, that is awesome. Hold on. Where are my little sparkles? Hold on. Woo. Wait, I have sparkles here. Awesome. Any questions for Nick? Sima/Nick says, I always thought LinkedIn was the Katie of the plastics. Fake it till you make it. We love a 2004 Mean Girls reference around here. So, share any questions you have for Nick in the comments, but this has been really great. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to jump into trending topics, but before we do that, can you tell us more about the Noun Project?
Yeah, so it's the world's most extensive and diverse collection of icons and photos. Been around for a long time, about 15 years roughly, and great place if you're a marketer or a designer or a UX designer as well. But a lot of people use us for slide decks and data visualizations and things like that. And yeah, just a huge collection of great visuals. So
Mhm.
definitely one of the more affordable choices too on the market. And yeah, super super cool place to grab visuals if you need them.
Awesome. Well, Devang, sorry to not, I mean, Nick is just an internet celebrity. I didn't really like give the backstory if you're out of the loop, but to sum it up, Nick has been going viral this week on LinkedIn, basically throwing out the LinkedIn playbook, just being himself, writing, short, quippy posts that are really just resonating with people. So I implore you to go down the rabbit hole and check out his posts. But people are really just resonating with this. And this shift in LinkedIn where we feel like we can just be ourselves. So thank you for that. Oh, you have a Noun Project fan, Marianne.
Yes, love it. Thanks for the support.
Awesome. Well, like I said, feel free to stick around. We're going to jump into some trending topics for the week and we can chat through them together. But if you have to run, I totally understand. Um, but first up is Saratoga Water. Everyone saw this. It went viral, as most of you are being featured in Ashton Hall's morning routine, and they responded with this post on Instagram. And another marketer, Michael Roberts, shared this. He says, saying Saratoga Water should be making memes, remixing, and launching social campaigns around their recent virality is like saying a Michelin star restaurant should open a drive-through. They're a luxury brand. They've already won this different playbook. Sometimes doing the least is the play. So Nick is changing the playbook, and Michael is saying that luxury brands have a different playbook. Do we agree with this? Do we think a different marketing playbook for a luxury brand, and how do their strategies differ? Any thoughts on this? Nick, feel free to weigh in. Rachel says, I recommend the Noun Project to all of my design students. Top tier. Love it.
Love it.
Salim says, I love how Saratoga is not inserting themselves and still reaping the benefits. Yeah, they already won, like Michael said. So I think they're keeping it classy, and it feels very on brand. What do you think, Nick?
You know what? I don't know what Saratoga, like, I'm totally out of the loop. I haven't been paying attention to that. So if somebody wants to tell me like what's going on there, I'd love to know.
Yeah, well, they're just going mega viral because an influencer used them in their video about their morning routine where they wake up at 4 a.m. and they splash this luxury water on their face. And everyone was like, Saratoga Water, why aren't you jumping on this? Why aren't you participating in this? You're being tagged a million times. You've got millions and millions of views in this ridiculous ice plunge video. And, you know, people are saying they already won. They don't really need to do anything as a luxury brand.
Yeah.
You know?
Sounds like that Josh Wines thing that happened a while back too. I don't like, I guess I feel like, you know, if you're a luxury brand, a lot of the times, like, the mystique and the science is kind of part of the play, like the marketing play. But I don't know, like at the same time, it's like I feel like it can come off so stuffy if people, or if brands rather, don't kind of like dress for the part in some ways, and like come
Yeah.
into, you know, like it's like wearing a tuxedo at a event where everybody else is wearing t-shirts. It's like, all right, like listen up a little bit, you know.
Yeah,
But
we love an analogy and a comparison like that. Well, Lathan says he likes the idea of a Michelin drive-through anyway. So, you know, why hasn't that happened? There really are no rules. Anne says, I just want to know if there's going to be a spike in tourism and visits to Saratoga Springs this year because people want to see where the water is from, which I've already heard that's kind of a cool destination. I'm not familiar with it, but Lathan says luxury is great, but many luxury brands attempt to be approachable to new, younger customers. They do not have to participate, but they have to balance approachability and aspiration. Dana says, yes, they have so much more to lose by reacting quickly and underprepared, or they can lose all credibility, such as Jaguar's rebrand. Yeah, I think that's a good example. Everyone was talking about Jaguar and kind of their misstep there. I didn't view Saratoga as luxury before this week. The Top Chef sponsor that's available at Safeway. Okay, did not know that. Did not know that. They're at Safeway. Okay, yeah, so maybe they need to play with that perception a bit if they really are a luxury brand. The concept of luxury water is painful. I have to agree. I know. Luxury brands often have a different playbook when it comes to marketing, but they can seem too out of touch if they don't engage. I'm glad they did in their own brand tone and voice. Yeah, so do we agree that sometimes the move is to say nothing at all, or does that seem out of touch? I don't know. Chris grew up in Saratoga Springs. While the water had become a luxury brand, the city has a bohemian vibe as well. It's too bad they haven't dipped in. Keep chiming in on this. How about Nick? Are you a fan of the White Lotus? Is that still your pop culture brand?
you know what? I can't handle that show. It's like so uncomfortable. I watched the first season and I just like it's not I'm gonna sound like such a square, but like when I want to watch a TV show, I'm like I want to laugh or be entertained, and like when I watch that show, I just feel uncomfortable the entire time. It's like so awkward and intense the whole time. So I'm gonna
It
be
is.
the square guy and say no, I don't really watch it.
No, I have to agree. I love like a good brain rot show, and this is not it. this This show will stress you out. But poor Duke University got looped into a very dark scene. Trigger warning, it was a scene about a murder suicide, and the actor's wearing a Duke shirt. So this got kind of messy for Duke. They said the White Lotus not only uses our brand without permission, but in our view, uses it on imagery that is troubling, does not reflect our values or who we are, and simply goes too far. Suicide is the second leading cause of death on college campuses. As imagery from the show is being shared widely across social media, we are using our brand to promote mental health awareness and remind people that help is available. And good for them. They won in March Madness last night, but trigger warning, there were some memes showing this scene saying White Lotus just blessed us with an all-time meme if Duke loses early in the tournament. And Duke is doing the right thing and kind of doing this damage control here, sharing the suicide prevention hotline. And man, it's just, and also their logo couldn't be any bigger, right? It's just straight Duke across his chest. So it's the age-old question: is all press good press, and is this somehow good press for Duke? What do we think? It's pretty messy. But to your point, yes, a very stressful show. Do you have thoughts on this, Nick? I saw your
I
microphone.
mean, I like the way they responded. Like I think
Mhm.
that's classy and like I don't know. Yeah, that sometimes the internet can be an ugly place and that feels like it feels like we crossed the line on that one, that
Yeah,
meme.
a little much, a little much. And I was saying it reminds me of the Sex and the City revival where they had Peloton featured and then the character has a heart attack. And it's like all these shows, it's like, oh, great, we're featured on national television in this show that everyone's watching. And then they paint them in this light. So Anne says, I think Duke's response is good press for Duke. Maria says, I think they're handling it well and shining a light on the hotline for people who need it. Yes. Love to see it. Actually came across a story about Duke and White Lotus from one of my posts. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Peloton and just like that premiere and Crockpot after This Is Us, when the Crockpot started a fire, then they had a whole PR crisis. Dana says, oof, I think their response is good press. I want to hear from the brand that made Saxon's boxers. If you know, you know. Wait, what am I? Oh, yes. That took a really dark turn as well. Duke really has nothing to complain about compared to Peloton situation. Duke was trying to cover themselves. Yeah, not in all industries. There are negative images that stick, even if they were false and have lasting impact, sometimes kill brands. The irony is only people who could afford attending Duke are the same who can afford the White Lotus. Yes, the Four Seasons in Thailand. The best way they could have responded. Danny says it's not good press, but I think they responded in the best way possible and redirect it into an important topic. Yeah, I think this is definitely one of those situations where not saying anything at all would have been damaging, going back to Saratoga Water. So I think they are managing the perception in the best way. I want to quickly share Gibson's comment on this. I don't know if he's here today, but he said, I get the Peloton and Crockpot concerns because these scenes create a perception that products are unsafe, but the Duke issue is the reverse. People have an existing perception of Duke alumni that Mike White is playing off of. That's the writer. It may not be a favorable perception, but Duke would be wise to address the root cause of the perception rather than focus on media that emerges as a result of the perception. So I thought that was an interesting take. Uh, Anne says, when I saw that Duke is mad at HBO headlines, I assumed they were overreacting, but the context of the scene is not it. A dude could have had a Duke shirt on in literally any other scene in the show. Yeah, I wonder if he has ties to Duke or like where this is coming from, if it's a Mike White thing. Yeah. Oh, Sima has a question for you, Nick. What social network are you going to take over next?
Um,
Gibson.
I don't know that I've thought about anything like that, but one thing that is interesting to me is video, and LinkedIn is really tough for video in my opinion. Like I think it doesn't
Yeah.
seem to work very well here. So um and it's really like more of a I would love to get better at speaking on camera and like, being able to tell jokes in real time. Like I think one of the things that I struggle with is like my timing in person kind of sucks. So like I'm not like a stand-up comedian or anything like that. And I'd love to be able to like improve on that skill. So like YouTube or TikTok are kind of interesting to me for that reason because it's like those are video native platforms where people are discovering that stuff um and it would be a new skill set, but right now it's just something I've thought about. It's not really like anything that I'm putting any time into right now.
Yeah. Have you thought about taking an improv class?
I've don't have the time right this second, like, and that's partly why you see my posts are like one-liners too, is that it's just like that's what I've got to work with. But
Yeah.
I would love to. Like, I think it'd be super fun.
Awesome. Well, keep us posted if you do.
I
Um,
will.
moving on to trending topics, and again, Nick, if you have to go, feel free. I don't want to keep you.
Yeah,
But
I'm gonna jump, but thank you so much for having me.
thank you. So appreciate it. And I think you're great on camera. So do more video and just keep sharing your takes. You've been such a bright spot on the internet lately. And like you said, it's been kind of crazy out there in the world. So thank you so much for making our weeks. And we all look forward to seeing more of your posts. Thank you so much.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on here, and thanks to everybody for the questions. And yeah, see you out there.
All right. See ya. Bye, Nick. Thanks again.
Bye.
All right, everyone. What a gem. I mean, coming on to chat with us. Thank you all so much for your questions and for giving Nick a warm welcome. And if you still want to talk about trending topics, we're here. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. If I can figure out my slides. Here we go. Here we go. So, Meghan Markle, all of the media is still talking about her show, but they're saying that she did one thing right, and that was her fashion. People are obsessing over her fashion more so than the cooking, and her show was about cooking. So this makes me wonder, should she lean into this now? What role does audience feedback play in how you define and evolve your niche? Thoughts on this? Should she kind of go where the people are and follow this feedback of everyone just wants to know about her fashion, but she loves the cooking thing and she's launching a preserve cooking line, So what does the audience feedback, what role does that play? And have you noticed anything similar with your content as you're publishing? Like maybe has your audience pointed you in an unexpected direction? Let us know. Nick Power podcast. Yeah, we'll have to let him know. I could see that. Got some more thoughts on Duke. Thank you all so much. It was a lot to kind of juggle doing a live interview and reading your comments and sharing them. So if I missed something, I am so sorry, but I'm catching up now. Alexa says, I think Duke is handling it well by responding to the issue, but I do think it could have more long-term damage than on other consumer brands because the university has a lot of prestige. Ooh, yeah. Duke. I mean, yeah, I think of prestige when I think of Duke as well. So I think it is a little bit of a different play there. Salim says soft launch a TikTok once you're comfortable with it, share it on LinkedIn. Yeah, they're really pushing for video on LinkedIn, and I don't know. Is anyone having success with it? Let us know. So yeah, what role does audience feedback play in how you define and evolve your niche? I mean, Meghan Markle, she used to have a lifestyle blog that talked about cooking and fashion and all the things, but this show was solely based on the cooking aspect. What I hope happens is there is a season 2 and it's style oriented. Lathan says the audience is the customer, so they tell you what they want. Markle is able to pivot since she is not a chef. She's a public figure with the resources to do what everyone wants to see. Yeah, I mean, what conflicts me about this is like, do we go to what our audience wants to see if it's not what we're passionate about? I think for like a brand and a corporation, it's a no-brainer. Like you do what your audience wants. But on a personal note, if that's not what she wants to share, but she also likes fashion. So I think it's possible. Salim says no opinion on Megan's situation, but in niche B2B, not all audience feedback is equal. You can easily get caught in catering to viewers versus actual customers in your marketing. Ooh, yeah. The people who are actually buying are the one that counts. Video first, Salim, I'll have to catch up on some of your video. Alexa says, I think the concept of niche isn't just an industry or topic, but rather your perspective. So I think her niche in this is her perspective on lifestyle, fashion, home cooking. Yeah, I hope we'll get a little bit of everything. I hope she'll evolve the second season. And we do know it's been renewed for a second season and see if it goes there. Chris, audience feedback worked for Family Matters. Wait, tell me more. It's important to pay attention to feedback. Just because you as the producer like something at the outset doesn't mean you can't compound that success. Wait, what a throwback. What happened with Family Matters, Chris? I need to know. Need to know. But keep chiming in on this and let me know your thoughts. And Alexa, I think I saw a great post from you about a niche and why that may be. I don't want to butcher it, but it was interesting. So please drop the post. I just want to know what pen she uses. Yeah, she had people like really. I saw a tweet where people were saying they kept going back and forth if they want long nails or short nails. And now Megan makes them want to have short nails. Like people want her pens. Oh, yeah, this shirt. I had this picture. This shirt, the brand is called Blue Salt. Sold over 300 shirts in one day after she wore this simple black shirt on her show. Urkel wasn't the main character. I love a 90s fun fact. Then they really lean into him. That's awesome. Petronella! In the beginning, the comments were about the way she dressed and people were enjoying her style. I think the audience would follow a change if it feels authentic. I think so too. People are really wanting the fashion. All right, keep sharing your thoughts on this, but also it's Feel Good Friday, so share some good news. Oh, thank you, Alexa. We'll definitely check that out. Rachel says, audience feedback can give you a content pillar to play with. Ooh, but doesn't have to be your whole house. As for her, she could both cook and serve looks, so issue dissolved. Yeah, it's kind of like in that Mindy Kaling episode where she gave the rundown of all the brands she was wearing. We need a full closet tour though. But I like that. It's just a content pillar. It doesn't have to be everything. So maybe we'll see her incorporate it in some different subtle ways. So Key and Peele had a good sketch about the evolution of Family Matters. I haven't seen him in a while, but there's a guy on TikTok that like parodies 90s sitcom scenes and like classic little like tropes and stereotypes. Hilarious. Okay, friends, I'm going to keep the questions light today because we did have an interview, but let's talk about Napster. Yes, that Napster sold for $207 million. Starting a new job. Salim, congrats. Yes, please keep sharing your good news. I'm trying to think. Do I have any good news to share? What's on my agenda? I'm going to be speaking at a conference soon. That's really exciting. I'm practicing now. So please give me honest speaking tips because I'm just winging it out here. Danny says, I posted a reel that's getting really great feedback. Danny, I saw that. I saw it and it was so powerful and you're doing such amazing work. Please drop the link and share it again. You're amazing. So yeah, Napster sold and this is what they want to do with it now. They want to turn it into a social music platform, a social platform for music. What does this mean? And I'm sad Kyle had to run because he has been shouting from the rooftops that Spotify should be a social media platform. So what features would you want to see in a music social platform? How would this work? What are some things we could do? I think Spotify, like as social as it gets, is like collaborative playlists, but it seems like we're all always on Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you're streaming, and our other friends are there, and there's a lot more potential. So what features would you want to see in a music social platform? Let's give Napster all the ideas. This is our way of apologizing for pirating all that music. We'll give them a couple freebies, a few free ideas. Spotify used to be that way 10 years ago. What happened? What happened? Why did they fall off from a social standpoint? What happened? Kevin says, I've biked 60 miles in the past 2 days, had only done 70 in 2025 prior to this. In fact, I'm biking right now. Whoa. Okay, so stationary bike, assuming you're not on the road responding to this, but that's really cool. Are you a Peloton person, Kevin? Tell me more about this. Salim says none. It's too niche to be better than a forum or a subreddit. Ooh. Yeah, I really think it's a big hurdle to get people to join other platforms and to start being social on other platforms. Like I feel like we've all already found our little tables in the cafeteria and we're not trying to start over. Saima says, it sounds like it's going to be like Musically, TikTok's origin. I would like to see better ways to discover new artists. Yeah. So do we think it's going to have video creating capabilities? Yeah. And like trending sounds. Okay. I see where you're going with this. That makes sense. Makes sense. Dana says, share a song as a status or as an away message. We love a throwback. Hold on. You get some sparkles. Okay. Oh, I didn't finish. Hold on, you guys. You get all the sparkles. Okay. Share a song as a status or as an away message. See what other people in your network are listening to right now. Groups based on artist interest, in-person events for music lovers. You know what I want to see is like chat rooms. Like, why can't I chat with all the other people who are listening to the Backstreet Boys right now, like old school AOL, and go and join a chat room every time they announce something or do something? Like, I'm only going on Twitter now, and it's so disjointed to see that conversation in real time. I want to go in a music-based chat room. I really like where you're going with this, Dana. Oh, Alexa says, I don't think everything needs to be a social platform. We are tired. Pinterest, Venmo, and other platforms who have a social component are never used for those functions. I don't think people want their music platform as a social platform. Yeah, I think the bigger challenge is how are they going to get people on Napster in general? Yeah, I think they got rid of some of the, or like, if you want people to see what you're listening to, it's a setting now for privacy reasons. You have to go in and allow people to see virtual clubs and shows. Yes, they're doing like a whole metaverse virtual show thing. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to put my blue light glasses on, guys, because it's bright in here. Anne says the social aspects I like most of Spotify is the ability to share songs, albums, and playlists easily to Instagram stories and stuff. Okay, is it just me? Whenever I try to share a song directly to Spotify, it shows the cover art and the album art, but the song doesn't play. Is that me? Is that just me? Am I doing something wrong? I'm sharing it to Instagram in my stories because I want people to hear it. And the only way I can get it to play is if I just add it as a song to an image and not share it directly. So please, someone help me with this. Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll do more interviews. Thank you again for bearing with me as we juggled this. It was a learning experiment, so I appreciate it. All right. Lastly, I'm wrapping up with a just curious question because, we don't have to talk about marketing all the time, but I saw this headline that I thought was really interesting, and I am very guilty of it. There's something called revenge bedtime procrastination, where we are trading sleep for me time, the rise of revenge bedtime procrastination. Long hours at work and a lack of control over one's time increase the chances of late night scrolling. Yeah, why won't the song play? Thank you, Sima. I'm glad it's not just me. Instagram won't allow it, but yet. Oh, okay, because I guess if they do allow it and you click it, then you're leaving to go to Spotify and they want you to stay on their app. But why do they let you add the song? I don't know. Oh, broken. Oh, how are you doing, Anne? Please let us know. Thank you guys, though. I'm glad you liked this format. I'm really just trying to experiment and get it right. So thanks for being my my guinea pigs this time. So, hey, how are you sleeping? How's everyone's sleep? Are you a bedtime procrastinator? I found that I definitely am. Um, but mostly if my husband's on a work trip and I'm solo parenting all day and then I go to bed and I'm like, I haven't spoken to another human today. Or I've had minimal social interaction. Let me scroll for a few hours. Um, but when he is home, I just talk to him and I don't scroll as much. So revenge bedtime procrastination is a huge thing among ADHD folks and neurodivergent folks, partly because their brains don't shut up. Yeah, and sleep is so important. It's true. Yes. Glad your leg is on the up and up, literally, with some slight hills. Just curious. Thank you, Satma, for using the label. I've been doing the whole revenge bedtime procrastination before that term came to be. What do we do about this? What's our solution? I think the balance I'm finding is that instead of going to bed and watching videos and consuming content that way, I'm going to go to bed and listen to something. And that's a shift in behavior change I'm trying to make. It doesn't always work, but I'm still on my phone. I'm still getting a little bit of a fix, but my eyes are closed. I'm under the covers. The blue light isn't right in my face, and it ends up putting me to sleep anyway. So maybe we can commit to trying that. I didn't know Napster still existed. Yeah, me neither, Jennifer. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get the Social Network part 2 with Justin Timberlake playing Sean Parker again. What is sleep? This is a problem, guys. We need to sleep. Can we all commit this weekend to try to improve our sleep habits? I'm one of those people who gets their best ideas before I fall asleep, so I need to write a post. Oh, I need to write a post-it or something so I can get to it later. Yes. I'm like that too. It's like, I'm going to lay down and I'm totally going to remember this idea in the morning, and then you never do. There you go, Lathan. There's the right. I know our brains. It's Friday. I've been a night owl since I was a tween. I don't consider it revenge. My brain just works better at night. I think it's because I can have uninterrupted time to focus. Yes, it's like business hours are over. We can finally think. It's dark, it's quiet. We can light a candle. But when I'm doing that till like 2 in the morning and then I'm a zombie the next day, it's not good. Danny says, I'm a subscriber of Cool Down Time. My wife and I play an hour of Stardew Valley before bed as a calming activity, and it's more productive than mindless social media scrolling. I love this bonding activity. Jennifer's got ideas for music social platforms. She goes back to MySpace, your ability to have a playlist and your theme. Yeah, more of it as a place to express yourself. I love that, Jennifer. I'm trying the throwback thing and throw on music and lay back and think about things rather than doom scrolling before bed. Kind of like coming home from school and laying back for a little while. Okay, I like those vibes. Yes, before bed. Late night is the best time for me to catch up on TV or movies, as well as catching up on any job postings I might have missed. Yes, Benjamin is open to work. He is amazing, and I will gladly write a recommendation letter or be a reference. He is one of my former students. So if you're hiring, Benjamin's here and is a gem. All right, everyone. It's past 2:00. It's been a fun day, a fun week, and an interesting, different type of pop chat today. So thank you all so much for joining. And like I said, letting me experiment with this live interview format for like the first half or so. And Nick was just the best. What a guy. So look out for his post. Devang, sorry to confuse you. But go check him out, go down the rabbit hole, go follow him, and just take a page out of his book and be yourself a little more on this platform. That's really why I started Pop Chat, was because we were all having these very rigid marketing conversations where it was like we're all just trying to prove who's the smartest. And I was like, no, let's throw that idea out the window and just have fun with it and bond over music, movies, and fun trends and things. Oh no, started staying up later than my parents. Nothing has changed. Yes. Listening to audiobooks before bed. Yes. Boom. Puts me to sleep right away. But then it keeps playing. I try to do the sleep timer and then I don't know where I left off. Gibson, you were here again. Thank you for your perspective. Thank you, Benjamin. I like the Pop Chat interview. Great way to build the community of Pop Chat. Yes, I had a lot of fun. And again, thank you all so much for joining. Everyone have a great weekend, a restful weekend. Listen to an audiobook, get some sleep, catch up on some shows, take it easy, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone. See ya. Bye.